Welcome to Software Testing Channel. In today's video, I will explain about roles, groups and users in Testrail and how they are used during different projects while within Testrail. Let's get started. First, we will go through roles and then groups and then followed by users. So what is role? So let's go to Testrail and then if you click on administration tab, here you will see like users and roles. Let's go to roles. So when Testrail instance is created, by default Testrail will create these 5 roles. So one is like no access, read only, tester, designer and lead. Within the role level, when we open, we can see like for each role the access is defined, like whether they can add the test suites, whether they can add the projects, etc, etc. Let's go through this. No access, as the name suggests, it doesn't have any role. So let's say if you have any user assigned with role no access, then they won't be able to see any data within Testrail, any projects, nothing. And let's go to read only, and these are like different permissions defined at role level. So if you see like there are attachments, cases and sections, test results, test suites, everything, but they can't do anything. The reason being like nothing is checked. If you want like for read only role, if you want to enable adding attachments, we can do like add attachments and then save role. And similarly when we go to tester, like these are all different default permissions enabled. So let's quickly create a new role saying business analyst. So we are trying to create a new role called business analyst, and then here we can give permissions. What permissions do you want for business analyst? Let's say they can create a milestone, they can delete milestones, and then they can add reports and then delete reports, and they can add test results and then modify test results. Say add role. Now you can see like new role is created. For the new users whoever are created for existing users, if you assign a role as business analyst, then when they log into the projects they will be able to perform only these actions, and they cannot do add attachments or cases, sections, etc. We'll go through those in the next videos. Now let's go to groups. So what is groups exactly in Testrail? So within an organization, there might be multiple teams and who are working on different projects. So if we don't mention any groups, and then when the user logs in, they will see all the projects by default. But let's say if you take an organization, if there are like 10 teams, and then if 2 teams are working on project 1, next 2 teams are working on project 2, project 3, like that, then when they log in, even if they see the other projects, it will not be helpful. And then so in such cases, if you want to control access for team 1 and team 2, show only project 1, team 2 and team 3 and team 4 show only project 2, etc. That's where like groups actually helps a lot. So let me create 2 groups saying team 1 and team 2, and then we'll see like how these are helpful at projects level. Now let me create team 1, add group, and then say team 2, add group. Now we created 2 groups, and then we will try to use these groups at project level to control access. Now let's create users. So that's it about groups, and then in the later section of the video we'll see how these groups are actually helpful at projects level to control access to different users. And now let's go to users. As we all know, users is very straightforward, where basically user says like what are all if you want to get access to Testrail, you basically need a Testrail account. That's what user is. And for a given user, once we create the user, we can mention saying like, okay, user new user is created, what level of access they need within Testrail, that can be controlled by role. So basically, when user is created and assigned a role, it will define access at Testrail level. It's kind of like global role. And then next, with for a given user, now they have access to Testrail, let's say like business analyst or whoever it is. And then once we add those users to the groups, then we can say like, okay, user is created and they are part of group 1 or group 2, like we created team 1 or team 2, and then we can use these groups to control access at project level. We will see these one by one. Let's create a new user saying test user 1, then provide the details, email address, and then we can provide the password also manually here. For testing purpose, I will provide password manually. Then provide email address. So once we provide full name, email address, and we can disable email notifications since these are test email address. And then after providing these details, go to access. Here is where we can mention what kind of access you want for the user. So all the roles will be displayed here. So we created new role called business analyst. Let me add business access as business analyst here. And we can say whether user is active or not. It is self-explanatory. And then the next one is like this user is an administrator. So it says like if you want to create a projects or manage users, everything basically using administration tab, that's when we select this user is an administrator. So for the user 1, I am not selecting administrator, and then adding the user 1 to team 1. And then we can say projects. These are like right now we do not have projects. In the next section we'll create a project and then see how these users can be given access at project level. Let's say create add user, and then now let me create one more user, test user 2. So I'm giving access as for user 2 also business analyst, and then adding user 2 team 2, and then click on add user. So now we have 2 users, and then let me quickly create a project, 2 projects for demo purpose. I'm creating project 1, and then I'm creating another project saying like project 2. Right. So now if we go to project 1, if we click on edit, so here we can see access. So for project now we can mention like what is the global role, what is the default access. We can say like by default no access, so it means nobody will have access to this project by default. Now at group level, now we can mention okay, team 1 will have, for project 1 team 1 will have access as a lead, and then we can say like for team 2 they will not have access, and then click on save project. So let me see, I'll give access to Testrail admin also for all the projects, so that it will be, they can see the projects. And then for Testrail admin, we'll mention project access as lead so that they will always be able to see the project. All right, now let's go to project 2 and then edit. Then we'll provide access for Testrail admin. We'll add access as lead, and then we'll say like, okay, team 1 should not be able to access it, and only team 2 should be able to access as, let's say, read only access. Save project. So now we updated 2 projects with the different access. For project 1, if we go here, team 1 will have access as lead, and team 2 has access as no, team 2 does not have access. Similarly for project 2, team 1 doesn't have access and team 2 has only read only access. Now, so to see this in live, so if we see like user 1 is part of team 1, user 2 is part of team 2. So when user 1 logs in, they should see only project 1, and they should be able to see all the menus where they can add test suites, etc. And then when user 2 logs in, because they are part of team 2, they should not see project 1, and then they should see project 2, but they will not have access to edit any of these because we have given only read only access. Let's see, let's log in and then try it out. So I'm logging in with user 1. So when the user 1 logged in, so these will come for first time users. Let's quick. So we can see like only project 1 is displayed, and they're able to add test suites and all because they have lead access. Let me create one test suite. So they kind of able to perform actions within the project. And then they do not have administration tab here because when we are creating user 1 and user 2, we didn't choose administration tab. So now, and user 1 does not see project 2 because at project 2 level we gave access to only team 1. Now log out and then log in with user 2. In with user 2, and for user 2 we gave user 2 is part of team 2, and team 2 has access only to project 2 with read only access, and they do not have access to project 1. When user 2 logs in, they should not see project 1, and they should be able to project 2 with read only access. It means they should not be able to create any test suites, etc. Let's see, let's log in with user 2 credentials. Alright, I provided test. I'm trying to log in with user 2 credentials now. Now, because we didn't give access to project 1, so user 2 is not seeing project 1 at all here. And now let's go to project 2. When we click on project 2, okay, they can see all the details, but when they go to test suites, they do not have the project does not have any test suites. At the same time, they do not have access to create test suites also, because for team 2 we gave only read only access. So that's how we create that's how we can create new roles, new groups, and how can we use these roles and groups at project level to control access to different projects within Testrail. Thank you. I hope this is helpful in understanding how the access is maintained at user level and at project level by using user roles, groups, and user. Thank you for watching.